we're going to have to do Final Fantasy VII at some point, and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
At some point. It's going to have... Because it
No.
featured prominently. No, you're just going to refuse?
Hola y bienvenidos al podcast The Games That Made Us. Soy Brent y como siempre me acompaña mi buen amigo Kirk. Saluda, Kirk.
Okay.
And we're joined as always by our good friend Benny. Say hi, Benny.
Oh, lo siento, everybody. God damn. We never know what's going to explode out of this man.
Fucking Kayate, por favor.
Well, if we all eat
Ayúdame.
if we all eat some of that Casey's pizza, I know exactly what's going to explode out of this man.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hello everyone. Thank you for joining us again. I want to talk about a game just briefly. I actually want to talk about two games just briefly. And then if you guys have shit you want to talk about, we can do that. But I have to get something out of me.
Yeah, those less important people. If you guys have, whatever, just fucking...
You other fuckers.
Yeah.
You guys exist, I guess.
You also are
Yeah,
humans.
well, you guys talk, I'll go get a drink and I'll go hang out outside and smoke a cigar. Just let me know when you're done.
Yes. Okay, sorry. I played two games since the last time we talked that were both really good, and I just want to plug them real quick. The first one is on itch. It's called Sheepy: A Short Adventure, and it's free. Go get it. It's kind of a like neon-soaked, like Hollow Knight or Ori and the Blind Forest style, like visuals, but it's more of a pure platformer and less of a Metroidvania. And it is really short. It does what it says on the tin. It's like a 2-hour game. But it's really, really cute. And itch has the whole thing where you pay what you want. Go get it. Maybe throw the guy a couple bucks because it was really good. It's about like stuffed animals who come alive in the middle of like a post-apocalyptic kind of situation. And you gain these various power-ups, and then at the end of the game, you have to return the power-ups and still defeat the main boss. It's really cute. I really liked it. The other game that I played was Nier Reincarnation. No, sorry. Not that one. Nier Replicant. I played Nier Replicant. I've got Nier Reincarnation on the brain because I've been watching a summary video of it. But I played Nier Reincarnation.
Replicant.
God damn it. Motherfucking ass shit. Why do they both have R's? I played Nier Replicant. Fuck. And I can safely say that the Nier series goes right in with like Portal and Legend of Zelda as one of my all-time favorite series.
Portal.
Holy fucking shit. That was so good. If you play Nier Automata or have played Nier Automata and you wind up playing Replicant, I would suggest that you do so. There's a lot of interesting threads that tie the two games together. But just go into it knowing that it's a much slower burn than Nier Automata. Like Nier Automata like just drops you down like mid-action. This game, I would say the first like 6 hours realistically are pretty bland. It's just like you're kind of just watching a guy do... It's like fucking Twilight Princess. Like, you're just watching a guy, like, do fucking chores for his friends. Like, yeah, the beginning kind of sucks. But the characters are amazing. The plot is batshit crazy in a really good way. The music is fucking incredible. Yeah, play Nier Replicant. Maybe just be prepared for the first part to be really boring, because it is. But yeah, two good games that I played recently that I wanted to plug. Kirk, did you have anything that you wanted to bring up before we talked about our subject today?
I've mostly been playing, because Assassin's Creed Shadows came out.
Yeah.
But, I can be a cheap bitch sometimes, and I'm waiting for it to, pop up on some sort of, probably like Steam summer sale or something, or fall sale. And I'll pick it up then, but to keep my brain happy, I've been going back and playing recently Assassin's Creed Origins.
Okay.
Because Origins was one of my favorites. I feel like it was like the last big Assassin's Creed game as far as the entire map and the map having something to do literally everywhere. Odyssey was pretty close. Valhalla, I think, kind of shrunk. And from what I understand from some of the reviews, like Shadows is good, but and it does have a big map, but there's just not as much to do.
Yeah.
So I've gone back and just been sinking hours in Assassin's Creed Origins.
Nice.
That's been eating up a lot of my time. And I never realized this. I had never played the game on PC. I played it originally on the Xbox One. I think it came as part of a bundle that they had back in the day when I bought my Xbox from a Xbox One from a Target. I think they had I think it came with 2 Assassin's Creed games or something. I think Black Flag and Origins or something, if I remember correctly.
Is Black Flag any good? I always
that's one of my favorites.
It's one of my favorites too.
Yeah,
It's
Black
really
Flag
good.
is amazing.
I always kind of wanted to play that.
Yeah.
I never beat it. I never beat Black Flag, even though it's one of my favorites. But I spent so much time just upgrading my ship and then hunting other giant ships down, entire galleons, and getting in dogfights with them. It was enough. It was enough enjoyment for me to be I don't need to beat this game.
It's the underlying gameplay loop of just the sailing and the ship combat is enough to just keep you busy for a long time.
Yeah.
They really dialed it in that game, and I don't think the ship combat has been as good since that game and before it.
Yeah,
because they technically had a little bit in the end of Assassin's Creed 3. We talked about that with what's his name on the Discord. Crow
Cage.
Yeah, we talked. He and I chatted about.
I saw that. Yeah, you
about Assassin's Creed, the merits and therein.
They had some ship combat in Origins as well, but not as complex or as huge as Black Flag.
I did like the Odyssey ship mechanics again, but still a little bit paired. There's nothing that's quite as satisfying as a broadside with a whole fuck ton of cannons.
Yes.
Or cannon, excuse me. Be proper.
You guys are making me realize that we have to play Sid Meier's Pirates.
Probably.
I fucking love that game so much. So much.
What was the Bethesda, or was that one? Or what was the Bethesda pirate game?
Oh, I don't know.
Wasn't there one that was kind of the same era as
the one I'm thinking of is the late 90s, early 2000s PC game that is kind of open world sailing around.
Maybe I think that's what I'm thinking of. Why do I think that's associated with Bethesda? Maybe it came out around the same time as Morrowind, I think.
That's probably accurate.
But I think, Benny, isn't it just a game called Pirates that Bethesda did or something like that?
Maybe. There's also Redguard.
Oh.
Which is an Elder Scrolls game. Anyway.
Yeah,
we digress deeply sometimes.
Yeah. That's acceptable.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
but sorry.
Yeah. No. Assassin's Creed Origins, and then Helldivers 2, just because I finally fixed the problem I've been having the past couple months, where I just couldn't connect to anybody and no one could connect to me. I could see other missions going on and how long. So clearly, I'm.
Did you see a therapist?
No, it was a. Yeah.
Thank you, Brent. Thank you. You validated the worst joke I've ever told on the podcast.
No, I went on.
I'm just having trouble building human connections, It's...
I went online and found the fix. I guess it's pretty well known. I just didn't think Arrowhead was going to let that be an actual problem. They would have fixed it already. But but that's been kind of the thing lately, why I've also been playing it on and off. It seems like every time they release a patch fix, it fixes one problem, but then breaks another.
Yeah.
They recently fixed my beloved grenade launcher, which was a staple for all my loadouts. The range was 25% of what it used to be due to a bug.
Right.
They quickly fixed it, but then it broke the autocannon or something like that. So I've still been playing it on and off because some of those weapons that are broken now I don't use, so it's not much of a problem. But they released their Borderline Justice Warbond, which has a lot of Western themed shit, which is really cool.
You talked about that in TMIG.
I did. I've been having a lot of fun with it.
That looked really fun.
Mm-hmm.
That's right up my alley.
Yep.
You have Helldivers, don't you?
I do not have Helldivers.
Okay. It's fun.
I also
that might be a fun one for us to do a live, or at least a
Let's play.
The thing that we sometimes do that I forgot the name of.
Yeah, that's the thing.
But the three of us, that might be, or whoever, that might be kind of cool to capture and
that'd be fun.
See how dumb we are when Brent isn't there to fix all of our fuck ups.
Or create new and exciting ones.
Yeah, but you get to be the little puppet master behind the scenes and do it on purpose.
Yeah, that's true.
To finish this out real quick though, they had like this massive like dog pile on a planet for a major order, like because the bots were threatening to take over a very prominent world that was like people refer to it as the game's Vietnam. Okay, it's like Malvalian Creek or whatever, but the bots were threatening to take it, but we were doing pretty good at successfully defending the surrounding systems. And one of the bots were up to like 94%. To take over this planet, but we got our big space station there in time that created an orbital blockade. So then the bots like brought in their incinerator core and their jump bots and all this other shit. It was like this huge, crazy war on this one planet. And the planet sucks too. It's like hell. There's like fire tornadoes and shit because of how bad the weather is. So it was just insane. It was all over the subreddit. People are like, "This is the coolest time to jump into this game." That's all I have to say.
Like the emergent gameplay of some of the multiplayer experiences that are out there is really cool. It's almost enough to make me play a multiplayer game, but not quite.
I love multiplayer games where the multiplayer aspects are very heavily bounded. Yeah. And you're not subject, unless you want to be, to the misery of dealing with strangers. Yeah. Because randos suck sometimes.
They can. But like Helldivers is purely, co-op though. Yeah. For the most part, there's still people like randos who will fuck up on purpose. But
you don't have to get involved with randos at all if you want to just play with your friends and only your friends, unless even, friendly social interaction turns you off, Brent.
Yeah, no, I don't like you or people in general.
I don't either.
And then we just get up and leave.
Yeah. No, there's just 3 hours of dead air.
You hear like us packing up our stuff and driving away. Like, it was a good show, guys.
There's just one of us in the background just like, fuck you.
Not even that I like get up and leave the podcast. I just get up and leave the house. Like I just walk off.
Abandon your own home.
Yeah. Brent's in Pakistan now. Benny, do you have things that you want to talk about?
I wanted to mention I love the situation that Kirk talked about with Helldivers, like the fixing the problem only to introduce a new one. I used to have a poster outside of my cubicle at the last company I worked for that was just an XKCD comic that was just a extended chain of what happened here. And then the guy says, I fixed the problems that I created when I fixed the problems that I created when I fixed the problems that I created when I fixed just ad infinitum and ad infinitum. That sounds wrong. Latin is weird. But that's always the way of things.
Yeah. Did you know that in classical Latin, the V's were pronounced like W's. So Vini Vidi Vici is actually Weenie Weedy Weechy.
Good.
Good.
Yeah.
No,
that sounds appropriate.
Yeah. Sorry.
I now appreciate history a little bit more because it's funny.
Yeah.
Stand on a precipice looking out over a city you conquered and Weenie Weenie Weechy. That guy sounds stupid.
You had to immediately pick out all the time travelers in the crowd because he would immediately start fucking laughing.
Yeah, there's just everyone in the background going.
I forget who I was dating.
Remembers to take his sunglasses off.
I forget who I was dating at the time, but I went to the movie theater to see Kate and Leopold, which I don't expect either of you guys to have seen that movie. But there's a bit
I'm aware of it. I haven't seen it.
Yeah. At the beginning of the movie, there's a part where, because like one of the guys is a time traveler, and they're in like England or France or somewhere in like the Victorian era, and this guy's like, "This is my fantastic erection. It's the greatest erection in all of Europe." And I was just like howling, laughing in the theater, and whoever I was with was just like poking me in the ribs, like, "Shut the fuck up, you dipshit!" And I'm like, the character's even laughing, like it's meant to
on
be comedic.
Purpose.
Like, yeah.
Anyway, so just to wrap
Kate and Leopold pull on my fucking video games podcast. There you go.
Deep cuts.
Deep cuts.
I've been playing Assassin's Creed Shadows. I pulled the trigger.
Nice.
You sloot.
I know. I am. And that was another discussion on the Discord. Like, I am a fully avowed open world sloot.
Sloot?
Yes.
I think that's a kind of boat, isn't it?
Sloop.
Oh, shit. Okay. Never mind.
You're probably some pedant is going to be like, actually a sloot is a narrow hold outrigger, and I'll be like,
I'll be your narrow hold outrigger.
Get out of my podcast. No, please stay. Don't leave.
Don't leave.
You can critique how dumb I am. I don't care.
Well, maybe Benny was referring to himself as a slutty boat. You don't know.
That's true.
Plug my holes, please, before I sink.
Before his basement.
Oh, God. Brent's going to die.
Yeah, before his brig floods.
Not plug my holes. No. God, how much am I going to cut out of this?
It was begging to happen.
Okay.
Anyway.
Holy fuck, so you bought a game.
I did.
Make sure to climb the mast.
I bought it day one. I bought it day one like a good capitalist little bitch. Although I had some credits that I was able to segue into a 20% coupon, so at least I didn't pay full price for it on day one. And I'll be honest, I love it. You brought up the fact that there's like less to do on the map, and I was racking my brain because I acknowledge that. Now that you pointed it out, it does seem like the density, although I will say the density is probably about the same as Valhalla. Like, why do I not care that the density is kind of lower? And I think it's just because it's fucking beautiful.
Yeah. And
it's so nice to explore. Like, even though there's not like points of interest every 13 feet.
Yeah.
It feels like there are, because the world is so well designed and so beautifully rendered, especially like on, decent hardware, where you can take advantage of at least some ray tracing. It's stunning. Yeah. It's really beautiful. It plays really well.
Field of view. That's always in Assassin's Creed. If I have the option, I crank it just because the worlds are always so beautiful.
Honestly, with the exception of a couple of moments in tight spaces, the camera is pretty good. Like, just it handles much better than some of the other games in the series.
Future Brent here. I just wanted to add that I'm very mad at myself for not making the joke about cranking it in tight spaces here.
So, honestly, I am a fan of it so far, and I've probably sunk 30 hours into it at least.
Sweet.
At this point. There are some critiques that I have of it. It's not perfect, and there are some balance things between the two characters. So there's Yasuke and then Naoe, and I really like the dynamic between the two because they play completely different from one another, and that's kind of the point. Yeah. And there's some balance issues there, but it's really fun to bounce back between them.
Well, one of them looks like a little ninja chick, and the other one looks like a fucking brick shithouse.
That's exactly, and that's how they handle, like, Naoe is like a tiny little shinobi, and she gets like, if she gets caught in combat with like a huge dude, like she can get sent flying pretty easily, whereas Yasuke can literally just run through doors.
Nice.
Like they have locked barred doors, and you can get a running start and just blast through them. It's kind of hilarious.
That's fucking awesome.
He's a linebacker, and she's the camera on the zip line.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I like it. I feel bad. Like I feel like I'm shilling for some AAA studio, but I really like it. So
it's acceptable to like games from big companies. I was just talking about a Square Enix game. Like, fuck, like they're massive.
Yeah, but at a certain point, I guess you could probably say the same thing about Ubisoft. That at some point they were making. It wasn't. I guess gaming wasn't at the level where we had to worry about what CEOs were doing and how much money was in the industry at the time. So.
Well, and it's okay because it's all just going to get bought up by Tencent and turned into fucking shitty mobile games anyway, so it doesn't matter. We can just enjoy it while it's still
just do games as a service. Everything will be something that you rent.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, you rent everything now
for $360 a month.
Yeah.
Fucking Nintendo with their new emulator.
I'm so mad. We can't talk about the Switch 2 announcement. We can't because I'm fucking mad.
Yeah. That will be a.
That's a whole episode.
Yeah.
I am so pissed.
Maybe that can be a supplemental.
I will say on the Discord, it was funny because I was like, bitching about the announcements, and then JJ was like, yeah, but what about Hollow Knight Silksong? I totally missed that.
There was like 3 seconds of footage.
Yeah, I'm like, that feels like a pretty big release. Like, they should have mentioned that. I don't know. But it was more important that they fucking showed us 20 minutes of their wheelchair basketball simulator. That is going to kill every... Okay, sorry. Just one thing. I have 2 small children. Okay?
That you're aware of.
That I'm aware of.
Yeah.
I have at least 2 small children. Anyone who watched that announcement who has kids saw the like mouse support on the Joy-Con and was like, oh, okay, so that happened. That's exactly 1 day of gameplay for my kids, and then the Joy-Con's dead. Because they're going to grind it as hard as they can down on whatever surface.
Yep. Your tables are fucked.
Yeah. First off, I hope you don't have a table that's got like a surface on it that could be damaged by metal things grinding against it, because they're no more. And secondly, they're like showing how like, oh, the harder you go with the Joy-Con, the faster the guy goes. I'm like, oh yeah, no. So then the Joy-Con and the table. So this is
just start strategically putting mouse pads around the house.
Yeah. You buy the game, and then the next day you go buy another Switch too. That's how that works. And table.
I'm still proud of my joke about the Joy-Cons as mice is only innovative to people who don't remember that Nintendo had the Super Famicom mouse 25 years ago.
Yeah, anybody who's played Mario Paint is like, yeah. I killed so many flies, dude. Like, I killed so many fucking flies in Mario Paint. Also played Populous 2 with a mouse. Hyperkin makes a modern mouse for the Super Nintendo that doesn't have a ball. So if you have a Super Nintendo...
Yeah, but then you miss out on the mystique of pulling it out and cleaning the ball with soap and water, and then a pencil eraser to clean off the rollers.
Get the fucking...
the little ring that forms on them.
The like crusty like
that's all you.
Skin and goo.
You get to clean yourself off of your own mouse.
Okay, that's the worst sentence you've said.
Just wait.
I was gonna say, I've been a teenage boy. I remember cleaning myself off my own mouse.
This is fun.
Okay, we have to talk about a game now.
There's a whole reason we're here. We haven't even touched on it. Yeah.
Okay.
I might be having a stroke. Can you taste this and make sure, like, it tastes like Captain Crunch to me. Especially the aftertaste.
Is that a symptom of stroke?
Craterator. That's what they called me in college.
Craterator. I like that we're all waiting with bated breath while we stare at Benny.
Like, it kind of tastes like peanut butter Captain Crunch, or at least the aftertaste for the most part. When I first drink it, I don't really taste too much, but when I get like that breath rolling across my tongue, I'm like, why does this taste like Captain Crunch?
I get that just a little bit.
Yeah. So I'm not having a stroke. Okay.
I don't think so. Yeah. If you smell burnt toast, let us know.
You don't look like you're having a stroke. I don't know what someone who's having a stroke looks like, but
the seizure you're having right now is a little bit more of a dead giveaway.
That's a whole other thing.
That's a whole other thing. Okay, so today we are finishing, hopefully,
on your mouse,
on all over our mouse. Our discussion of Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time.
You like that, Benny?
I don't.
We're pressing on.
Okay.
Yes. Pressing on. But we're going to talk about... We talked about the plot. We're going to talk about everything else with the game. And we're going to try and do it in one episode and not two, so that we don't wind up with 4 fucking hour-and-a-half long episodes on this game. So I'm just going to dive in, and you guys stop me when I get to something interesting. This could either take 2 hours or 10 minutes. Okay, so let's start by talking a little bit about the development of the game, because I think it's interesting. So it came out in 1998, and it was developed concurrently with Mario 64, and then they pulled it off of the regular 64 console and started developing it as the pack-in game for the 64DD accessory. Are you guys familiar with the 64DD?
Is that little like tray compartment thing that sits underneath it? That like an attachment on the bottom?
Yeah, that had the giant floppies, basically.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, it was basically a zip drive for your N64.
Like, no one here in the U.S. had it, though.
No, it never released here. The only game that I know that actually came out on it was Doshin the Giant, which then we got on the GameCube. Which, Doshin the Giant, fun game. If you liked black and white but don't like English people, Doshin the Giant is the game for you. And then they started developing it. This is funny how often this happens with Zelda, where they move it from like one platform to another. Started developing it for the 64 DD, then moved it back to the N64 with the failure of the DD, which is why it was developed concurrently with Mario 64, but came out 2 years later. Shigeru Miyamoto served as the overall producer, and then they broke up the rest of the game into 5 different directors who all worked on different parts of the game. And if you look through the list of who worked on it, it's all the big Nintendo people. Yoshiaki Koizumi, who wound up doing most of the 3D Mario games, did the graphics. Eiji Onuma, who's done all the modern Zelda games, did the dungeon design. Koji Kondo, obviously, did who's incredibly famous. He's Nintendo's like star composer. Served as the composer for this. This is Koji Kondo's last game that he did solo. Everything he's done since then, he's worked with a team. So that's why I kind of call this his magnum opus. I mean, like, what a fucking soundtrack.
And that's pretty wild to do what this game is comprised of in terms of sound by yourself.
Yeah. And we'll get to the soundtrack a little bit because I do want to talk about it. And I really want to talk about how the soundtrack and the gameplay hook into each other.
Yeah.
It's kind of unique. Not totally, but...
I mean, I think there's an argument that there's something... maybe not totally unique in terms of gameplay, but like in terms of lasting. You see some of the soundtrack persisting in memes now.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's on TikTok.
And I think a lot of that has to do with the mechanics of using the ocarina. I think that just burned it into everybody's brain. It was wildly successful. It was the best-selling video game of 1998 in the United States, which 1998 was a tough year, okay? The games that came out that year: Metal Gear Solid, Pokemon Red and Blue, GoldenEye, Resident Evil 2, Final Fantasy VII, Half-Life, StarCraft, Baldur's Gate, Oddworld, Link's Awakening DS, Myth 2 Soul Blighter, Sonic Adventure, Xenogears, Rogue Squadron, Marvel vs. Capcom, all came out in 1998. And
Jesus.
And
we were spoiled. Jesus.
Holy shit.
Right? And here's the best part. The PlayStation was outselling the N64 3-1 in 1998, and Ocarina was still the best-selling game of 1998 in the United States.
Damn.
Wow.
Were people buying the game without a console?
Right.
like I did with Halo.
Right.
I mean, yeah, when I bought the game before I had bought the console.
Damn.
It was voted Game of the Year by IGN, Famitsu, GamePro, Electronic Gaming Monthly, CVG, and Nintendo Life. And I just put in here, I remember it being absolutely everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, the first encounter that I had with it was the Walmart in the closest big town to where I grew up had like a McDonald's inside of the Walmart, and inside of the McDonald's it had an N64 kiosk. And I used to, like, my mom
That's the most 1998 thing I've ever heard.
Right. And my mom would, like, go shopping, and she would basically drop me at the McDonald's, and it's like, okay, play Nintendo. I'll see you later. And, yeah, I mean, fuck, I probably got through 3 dungeons, like, every time I'd get there. Like, oh, God. It was, yeah. And it was fucking everywhere. I mean, there were standees of Link, and Link was on every fucking game magazine, and, it felt omnipresent.
Every kid who played video games was talking about it.
Yep.
All claiming they beat the water temple already and by themselves.
Oh, yeah. No, they totally knew how to do it. And the fucking... This was right at that moment for me where this was the first game that I remember playing with a guide. Like, that I got from the internet. Like, I got on...
Game FAQs.
Yeah. Like, with the little ASCII art at the top. And, like, I still love that. But so let's talk a little bit about the gameplay of this one. There were 3 games in development simultaneously at Nintendo when they decided to launch the Ultra 64 that then became the Nintendo 64. And they were the first 3D, fully 3D games that Nintendo had ever developed. Mario 64, Pilot Wings 64, and this. And I think in that context, this game's gameplay is actually really impressive. That said, they've made more 3D games since then. They've done a couple more since 98.
Yeah, just a couple.
There's been a handful.
Heard tell.
And I kind of wanted to talk about like the movement, the traversal, the combat mechanics, and I want to get your guys' take on this.
It's a good example of experimenting in letting players traverse a 3D space.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting because I've seen a lot of people, like younger gamers, talk about this game and talk about how like the Z targeting and the method of traversal and combat in this game is broken. And I don't think it's broken. I think it's like an alternate history. I think people forget how long it took for dual stick 3D movement to become the accepted standard everywhere. And like I don't even really know where I'm going with this. My point is that I see what Nintendo was trying to do, and it does work. I think the problem is that it's just so alien to someone who didn't grow up with it, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. No, sorry, go ahead, Kurt.
Oh, because Z targeting, in a sense, still very much so exists. Like we were just talking about Assassin's Creed.
Right.
Well, yeah, you lock onto an enemy kind of in the similar fashion.
Right.
Like I was saying, I was playing Origins. It's like right click on the thumbstick or right thumbstick click.
Yeah.
And it locks onto an enemy and you can start kind of traversing around them like you can in Zelda with Z targeting.
And that's pretty ubiquitous in games these days too. Like every From Software game does that too.
Yeah.
Like usually the lock on is right stick click. Usually.
So I wouldn't even consider it an alternate. It's really the precursor to modern lock-on, I would say.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to put that, actually, because I think that the idea is kind of inherent in the way that we navigate the world in general, and that we have independent movement of our sensory organs, like our visual sensory, and the ability to move in a different direction than we're looking.
Yeah.
It's like it's kind of inherent in how we're built. I think it was almost inevitable that we'd end up with. It is kind of surprising that someone wasn't like, why don't we just put a second stick there?
Yeah.
But that's with the benefit of hindsight and infinite amount of experience.
I would kind of wonder if they had to use C buttons and not a second analog stick because of the maybe not necessarily a polling rate, but the amount of input and output the controller was able to communicate properly to the system at any given moment. Like maybe it just can't translate all that fast enough too. So they had to use buttons.
I think that explains why it took until the last 10 years or so to start seeing trackpads on game controllers, like the Steam Deck or the PlayStation controllers do some trackpad stuff, and some other games or other platforms. I'm sure there's some third party emulators that probably have trackpads on them and stuff, some Switch clones and stuff.
But the original Steam controller was basically 2 trackpads.
Exactly, but for the same reason, like I think that's the only reason why that didn't come in or dominate sooner, because it's such an intuitive way of navigating. It's the reason you can play FPS games on a phone. Yeah. I'm not saying it's good, but I'm saying it's feasible.
It is. Yeah, it works. It works, right? Like, so. And I think there's probably something to that. It is bizarre going back to like this whole generation, right? Like, again, that's kind of what I was getting at with the whole, like, it took a long time for the dual stick thing to become ubiquitous, because you've got the Dreamcast, the PSP, and the N64 are all single stick systems.
And I mean, we got through the first generation, or at least the initial release of the PlayStation without a second stick, without dual sticks.
Yeah,
right.
We had no sticks.
Exactly. We had only analog D-pad and
which was
bizarre.
Which was bad. It was real bad. Which is why there's the fucking tank controls. Which again, if we're talking about early 3D games and we're talking about Ocarina, like yes, the method of traversal is a little weird, but it's superior to tank controls.
So going back and playing it, I do feel like I feel physically the inclination to look around.
Yeah.
Same with the other game that we're going to talk about this recording session if we get to it.
Yeah.
But it's pretty easy to put that on the back burner once you like we're adaptable creatures. Like I did not take very much time. And maybe it's like the nostalgia or it's the previous experience from childhood, but I did not have a hard time getting back into playing without depending on a 3D look.
Yeah.
You know, being able to just count on the camera to follow and then Z targeting. So it didn't like while
and then quick tapping Z target to recenter the camera when you're not in combat.
Exactly.
I overuse the hell out of that.
So
I could navigate quicker and easier, especially platform jumping. That you had to do that.
Yeah. Oh my god. So there's we have a family friend and their son was coming over and I was playing Wind Waker, and it was hilarious because he was like not grokking what was happening because I'm running and I'm feathering the trigger to like reorient as I'm running along.
I was like, why is the camera jumping?
Right. And he's like not getting what's happening. And it's like, because again, like in that game, you can control either way sort of. And it's like the like holdover legacy of Ocarina and Majora's Mask in that game.
But the C stick on the GameCube is not great for look for you know,
right,
3-dimensional look still.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to talk about every Zelda game on this podcast, aren't we?
At some point. At some point. I'm dreading when we talk about Majora's Mask because I'm gonna lose friends.
Mostly JJ.
Mostly JJ. That game makes me so mad.
I love it, but also it's got a lot of problems.
I just don't look. If I want a fucking chores list, I don't need to play a video game. Okay, like anyway.
But you like Stardew Valley, right?
I do.
Yeah,
I do. But that's just because the fucking purple-haired girl's kind of cute.
Well, I'm glad you brought up like. So Wind Waker, Zelda she's like a pirate. She's not a princess, right? And then Majora's Mask doesn't even have Zelda.
Right.
But that's kind of one of my problems with Zelda games. And then even Ocarina of Time, because like Zelda is always this well-to-do princess who basically gets to do all this fun shit because, I mean, she's a princess.
Yeah.
I kind of wonder if Link is just sitting there the whole time humming Hall & Oates' fucking Rich Girl. You know, you can rely on your old man's money. You can rely on your old man's money. Like, that's because that's like, don't you know?
Now you've gone too far.
It's a bitch, girl.
That's a good song.
Anyway, we're so far off.
And you've gone too far because you know it don't matter anyway. But I mean, that's kind of what a lot of the even the newest Zelda games. It's like, well, Zelda, she's doing all this.
Sucks.
Yeah, she's able to do all this research and exploration and building these giant things because she's just some fucking rich girl.
Well, Brent, you brought up a really good point with that last. I forgot what that is. The 3D. It wasn't a 3D. I guess it was on the Switch, but the isometric top-down view with Zelda like stacking shit.
Oh, Echoes of Wisdom.
Yeah, I've already forgotten what it was called because it was such cute. Sure, but like you brought it up, and it's such a missed opportunity.
Yeah,
to have gone a totally different direction and make her badass.
It really is, and it's so frustrating with Zelda because it feels like the current leadership of the Zelda franchise has no idea how to make that character interesting and engaging. Because like to me, my favorite versions of Zelda are this game, which was still under Miyamoto, and Minish Cap, which was under Capcom. And, like, meanwhile, Eiji Onuma's just been like, yeah, she's kind of a bitch, I guess. Like, I don't know. Like, and just so frustrating.
Twilight Princess could have been a good iteration too, and just and same with Skyward. There's potential in some of these, and they just kind of drop the pretext for why she's significant, and instead of like digging into it.
It's so frustrating because it's like, and I have friends who are like, oh, well, you know, the Japanese are just more misogynist. And I'm like, I don't think that's true. And like, and so,
I think there's a little bit of that.
Oh, sure.
But I don't think it's a deliberate thing. I think it's like a cultural manifestation.
Yeah, but like if there are Japanese video games that feature strong, intelligent, well-crafted female characters.
If you made Nier Automata with Zelda, or if you put that gameplay with Zelda as the primary character, that would work.
Yeah,
that game would succeed.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's a take on Zelda that I don't think we've seen. Is
what's the new Zelda game coming out that's in that Link's Awakening or the remake style? But people are complaining because Zelda still isn't a badass.
Yeah,
like
that's Echoes of Wisdom.
Okay,
yeah,
just making sure.
Yeah. By the way. Oh my God! I was so disappointed. I know I'm trying not to do Switch 2 talk, but I was so disappointed because like I was like, oh, cool, another Zelda game, and it's fucking Hyrule Warriors game. You bitches. Oh my God. Do either of you guys like Dynasty Warriors?
No one likes Dynasty Warriors.
Oh, I'm going to make you fuckers play a Dynasty Warriors game.
No! No, please. I thought we were friends.
There's one that there's like two that I like.
Yeah. It's like,
well, remember when JJ used to play the shit out of the first like Hyrule Warriors in the living room at that one place, like, what was it, 15 years ago? God, he played the shit out of that. And it looks so boring.
I thought it looked fun. But I like those games. I'm sorry.
No, you don't have to apologize.
I'm so sorry.
No, you have to apologize. No, Brent, don't take this from me.
Laying into it is so funny.
You don't have to apologize for having bad taste. I
won't.
Yeah. No, it's Star Wars Battlefront with fucking Chinese jumping vampires. It's yeah. Anyway,
go tell me more.
I just like the way Brent said that because it's like, yeah, that's okay if you like that. You're still dumb though. Like,
I'm sure
Chinese jumping vampires. I'm intrigued.
Yeah, I do love Chinese jumping vampires. Okay, where were we? Ocarina of Time. That's what we were talking about.
God.
Okay.
Well, like kind of Zelda herself and like
yeah. Going back to the gameplay a little bit here, I want to talk just a minute about Egoraptor's sequelitis Ocarina of Time video, because what I love about it, and actually the Game Grumps playthrough of Ocarina of Time, is I love how he refuses to learn how to play the game.
That's every game he plays, though.
Well, especially Zelda games.
Yeah. And I'm like, you can't be mad at it. Like, that's like, okay.
So, Brent, let me just like the epitome of this moment that keeps happening for Aaron in those games at the end of Wind Waker. You know, the tower that rises up out of the ocean and everything, and you're going in there. You probably remember that you can hold, I think it's the R trigger, and then hold a direction button and navigate around slowly.
Sure.
Well, if you don't read tutorials, then you may just figure, I have to wait for the waves to just drift me around endlessly for the next 30 minutes until I move 16 feet.
Okay, so one thing that I will say about that video is that it makes me feel better about the fact that I miss fucking gameplay mechanics, because he misses all the gameplay mechanics. He's playing a different game than what's on the screen.
I think you two share something in common, and I actually don't mean this as a backhanded compliment, that you're just good at video games by succeeding despite missing core features.
Yeah. Reference episode 1 of this podcast.
Oh my God. Yes, the fucking the tiger.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so mad because there's no tiger in the game. Yeah, there is.
Yeah, there is.
What?
I think episode 2, there was also something else. I don't remember, but that became like a trope for a while.
Yeah. That's why we're covering Ocarina, because I'm confident I know all the mechanics of this game.
We're describing failing forward. That's the term for what.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
But no, that makes sense because I think we've all, maybe Kirk hasn't had one because fuck you, Kirk, but
He's just so good and handsome.
I know.
Yeah, everything I do
Talented.
is awesome. I know.
Yeah, he's got a big cock.
His BO smells like cinnamon rolls.
Right?
Flowers and waffles.
Yeah. Every time I walk by and he's been sweating, it just smells like a fucking Cinnabon.
Yeah.
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 We just need to get those fans behind him, and he can hold up his arms and track the children.
Wait.
To what end? This got weird really fast, man.
Anyway.
Brent's like, and check out and make him buy this van. That's creepy and run down.
Hey, come over and check out Kirk's cinnamon rolls.
Hey, little girl, have you seen my dog? His name's Get in the fucking van.
Oh no.
Where were we?
Where were we, indeed?
Yeah. I wanted to complain about the fact that it's not always super clear where you need to go next.
Yeah.
In Ocarina.
A lot of games do that anymore, though.
That's true.
Especially open world games. Like, the hell?
Yeah.
But any of the games I referenced earlier, a lot of them it's open world. It's like, you can go to this place and we'll even put a marker for you, but you don't have to.
But I think they give you, intuitive... Excuse me. I got a better one in there. I think modern games...
6 out of 10 at best.
Yeah. Modern games give you, like, somewhat intuitive guidance that's kind of, like, diegetic. So, like, you go talk to a character, and you can do that here, except she's fucking useless.
Yeah. Yeah.
Navi is totally pointless in the narrative sense after the first 15 minutes of the game, if we're being honest.
Listen.
Yeah, for
Aren't we supposed to go talk to the princess? I'm walking there. Aren't we supposed to go talk to the princess? I'm walking there.
Yeah. Other than that, she's just an avatar for Z targeting, really, after that.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and then after a certain point, I feel like her guidance, or at periods, her guidance isn't helpful.
Yeah.
So, like, the hints that she gives you are just like...
Plus, she just flies the fuck away at the end. Like, where are you going? You're my fucking fairy.
Like, why did you have to go anywhere?
Yeah.
Right. We had a good thing going on.
Right.
But if that didn't happen, Majora's Mask wouldn't have happened either.
That's true.
Future Brent here again. So at this point, I went pee, and I tried to edit it back in seamlessly together, but it just wouldn't go, so... Yeah, I don't know. I got nothing for you guys. I'm just gonna be honest. We're gonna come back now, and we're gonna kind of circle back to what we were saying a little bit earlier about the development of the character Zelda herself.
No, that was when you were away. I was chatting with Benny about how in this game even though I was kind of making fun of her about being a rich girl, in this game for the first time in the series, she's not.
No,
she's a child at first, so. Kind of get a pass there, because what is a 9-year-old girl going to do? Even if a rich 9-year-old girl, besides, have a dope birthday party or something.
And then her
or whatever they do.
Clearly gets deposed.
Yeah. But she becomes Sheik, who is a badass. And
badass.
She carries that on in, Super Smash Bros. And all those other cool games. But even by today's games, Zelda still doesn't really do much. She's like a researcher, I guess. But again, probably because she has all the money where she could just do that all the time and not have to, work in the fields like some of the other characters have to do. But then that's also why I liked Wind Waker, because she was a pirate. She wasn't your stereotypical...
What's her name in that?
Broomhilda, damsel in distress nonsense.
Oh.
I think she's more interesting when she doesn't need rescuing.
Yeah.
She's just another person there to help you.
I think it's so
Or doesn't
funny.
need protecting. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine, man. I think it's so funny, all the backlash that Wind Waker got at the time. And, now when you talk to people, it's, one of the... Oh, this is the quintessential Zelda game. And it's like...
Oh, that's funny, because I don't like Wind Waker.
No.
But also a lot of that backlash was because of that... What was it, E3? Where they demoed that technical demo...
Yeah.
With the dark version of Legend of Zelda that would eventually kind of show up in Twilight Princess, but before, but then you get that cartoony Toon Link cell shaded graphics, and that turned people off.
Twilight Princess, also known as the emo Zelda.
Yeah.
Super edgy and dark.
Oh, Link Between Worlds Zelda. Well, technically not Zelda. It's the girl in Low Rule who's a bit more of a badass and kind of knew what was going on.
I like her.
I think did it start with an H? I don't remember. But another good example where the character is more interesting when she doesn't need saving or protecting.
Right.
She's not the MacGuffin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Because even in the new ones, Zelda always needs saving. It's like, oh, you touched that thing you probably fucking shouldn't have. You know, that weird, creepy mummy that's holding that crystal? I'ma touch it. Don't touch it. I'ma touch it anyways. Please don't touch it.
I'm a bad scientist.
Yeah. And
I don't mean naughty. I just mean I'm not good at my job.
Unlike
leave it to poor Link to save her and then fucking lose his arm for a little bit.
Yeah.
In the process.
What's the actual researcher? The one who turns herself into a kid for a
Impa?
while? No, not Impa. No, in Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. She's a kid in Breath of the Wild because she turned herself into one, and then in Tears of the Kingdom, she's like...
Impa.
No. Impa's... No.
Is she the older Purah?
Purah! That's it.
That's right.
Yeah, because Impa's
the old lady.
The old lady. And the one who looks like
but who's younger in the flashbacks.
Fucking MMA fighter in this one. Like...
Yeah.
She looks like she could fucking like...
Yeah.
She's got the little shorts and everything.
Uh-huh.
All right, hey. You know what? I'm happy for it's just important to know what you're into. It's just...
Tiny, pixelated boobies.
Let's talk about graphics.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, man. So... we talked about it very briefly in the last 2 episodes ago. We talked about how like Castletown looks so good because it's one of the very few moments in the game where they actually have the pre-rendered backgrounds and then the 3D models on it. And it's like this game to me is the biggest indictment against Nintendo's insistence on cartridges rather than CDs for this generation, because everything's Garo shaded where there's or the textures are crazy low poly.
Yeah.
The game had like the N64 texture cache was so tiny. I mean, it was kilobytes of size. And so everything is just so blurry and indistinct, and it's so weird playing the 3DS version of this game where they actually like
retexture a lot of it.
Everything is and a lot of the models are new too.
You know, you look at like the I think that the place where it shows its limitations the worst is in the vine textures that you see in a lot of places where they have like where it's it's meant to be partially see-through. Mm-hmm. It's meant to be translucent essentially, and those edges are so blocky.
Yeah, you can see the like squares of the pixel.
Exactly, and it's like the vines are basically just like the Snake game from your mom's Nokia phone in 2002.
Yes. Oh my god, I played so much Snake on my Nokia.
I played a lot of Snake too, but I didn't have a Nokia.
No, that's what I had. I had a job working for the post office, and most of what I did was take bathroom breaks and play Snake on my phone. It was great. Early 2000s were a crazy time. This game didn't look good at the time. Like
no N64 game looked good. They all look the same.
Yeah.
Like I will say, like, there were some that I think knew the limitations and dealt with it better.
Yeah.
Like we talked about Star Wars Racer.
Yep.
And the backgrounds and the environments there.
Or Rogue Squadron even too. Like,
yeah, they look
better.
And especially if you either get something that can put a filter over the graphics if you're emulating it to kind of give you more of the experience you would have had with a voxel-based CRT screen.
Yeah.
Or anything where the developers knew that they'd be able to take advantage of the relative blurriness of the screen. and get something that was like just a little bit of like natural dithering or feathering at edges. But I do remember, I can look back and just, you're right. It's not a pretty game.
I remember the first time.
But it could be done better.
Yeah.
At the time, I guess that was the point that I was trying to go with. Like, and later as the N64 got more seasoned, and especially after they added the expansion pack, things did look better. But
and I honestly think that this was, and I kind of mentioned this before, that Nintendo's commitment to doing full 3D instead of some of the trickery that was going on the PS1 really hurt this game. And it's funny because this was Nintendo going, we're going to have the most badass console with the most power, and we're going to do the bleeding edge. And it's like, wow, you guys moved away from that in a hurry. Like, the next console was the GameCube, and then the Wii was 2 GameCubes strapped together, and the Wii U was 4 GameCubes strapped together with an Android tablet.
Sort of literally.
Yeah. So it's just funny to go back to an era when Nintendo thought they were going to be the bleeding edge of gaming.
I think they're the bleeding edge of gimmicks that are good gimmicks.
Yes, definitely. I do think it is funny, again, not going back to the Switch too much, but I do think it's funny that their gimmick for this time apparently is a webcam and a mouse. And I'm like,
I got those.
You guys know about PCs, right?
Yeah.
You guys know about porn, right?
Yeah.
Hey, we invented Discord again.
Right. Yeah, that was pretty great.
Yeah. Looks at their peripherals, then looks at cell phone. Like, wait.
I want to talk a little bit about the different versions of this game, and then talk a little bit about the sound. I want to kind of leave that to the end and then kind of close out. But if you're interested in playing Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time in 2025, whether you haven't played it before or you haven't played it since you were a kid, I would strongly recommend not just booting up the straight N64 ROM for some of the reasons that we've talked about. And I kind of think there's 2 really strong options. Option 1 is the 3DS port, which is just superior in every way. It's visually more appealing. It smooths out the controls because you don't have to be a 3-armed homunculus to...
You do like they really do utilize the full 2 analog sticks and the C buttons on the touchpad part.
Right. Yeah, you don't have to be some kind of Island of Dr. Moreau-esque monster to be able to use the controller.
You don't have to be the T-1000 in Terminator 2 flying the helicopter.
Yeah. Your arm sticking through your chest. But it is a much more visually appealing game. Controls are better. And the only problem that it has is that it's a 3DS game, so you do have 2 screens. There's really good 3DS emulators that nullify that. I play it on my iNoden, and I map the back buttons to flip screens. So I just flip the screen, do whatever I need to do on the secondary screen, and then flip back. And that works really well. If you're on a big enough monitor, you can just put both screens up. Or if you've got a 3DS, if you don't have a 3DS, don't go buy one now. Because they've gone from being like $50 like a couple years ago to now they're in like the $200-300 range. It's absolutely fucking insane. I have no idea what's going on with that.
Well, that is how the store closed for it too.
Yeah,
like any more support for the 3DS is non-existent.
Yeah,
that is how I played the game this time around, though, and I do have to say that was definitively the best experience that I've had. Was on that dedicated hardware with that version. It looks and plays really well, and I don't personally have a problem with the 3D feature of the hardware, so I actually really enjoy that part of it. It actually kind of made it surprisingly immersive, and it looks good with the newer texture packs and everything.
For the 5 to 10 minutes that I can look at the 3D on the 3DS without vomiting, it looks really good. The other version that I want to mention is there is a native PC port of this game called Ship of Harkinian, and it's a fan project. It's a full decompilation of the original N64 ROM. You can play it in 16:9. You can upres it to 4K. You can add texture packs that bring in the better textures from the 3DS version. You can remap the buttons. There's mods. It's a PC game, right? There's mods for everything. If you haven't played it before and you don't have access to a 3DS, this is the easiest way to play it. You need to source your own N64 Ocarina of Time ROM, which I'm sure you'll dump from your legally obtained cartridge with your N64 cart dumper that you have, definitely, because we all have one of those, right?
Yeah. Your uncle was a developer.
Yeah.
You had original hardware on hand.
My dad works at Nintendo.
Right, exactly. My buddy's friend's second cousin's uncle works at Nintendo, and he said that
this is totally fine.
Yeah, that there's a nude mod in Ocarina of Time where you can see Impa's tiny pixelated boobies.
It's just Death Mountain just mounted on.
Oh, God.
The character twice.
Jesus.
Yeah, I was trying to think would they actually have put the cones on the chest model, or would they have just had that triangle chest model then drew the boobs on that? It gave me pause for a sec.
The best cosplay I've ever seen when Crookage was asking about the tiny pixelated boobies emoji for the Discord, and I went looking for Laura Croft's boobs was the Google search that I decided to enter in because I'm a smart man. And
well, you're on a list now. That's fine.
You have to do a little bit more than that to get on a list, hopefully. But no, okay. Fine, fair. I don't care.
No, that's a specific list.
Yeah.
People who have Googled Laura Croft's boobs.
It's not a bad list. It's just a list I keep. But you're not in trouble. They just want to separate you from the other people.
You go to the post office, there's a big scroll that they unroll, and they're like, all right.
Yeah. Have you owned any dungeons in the last 2 months?
What the fuck was I talking about? Jesus Christ.
Laura Croft.
Oh, yeah. I saw a cosplay, and somebody was dressed up as Laura Croft, and then they had cardboard under their shirt, so they had the triangular boobs. And I was like, that's great. That makes me happy. Well done, random cosplayer. Real woman of genius.
Real woman of genius.
Okay.
That's going to land on exactly no one.
Oh, I think the middle part of the Venn diagram between people who remember the Real Men of Genius ads and people who listen to our podcast is just a circle.
Oh, no. All right.
I'm so upset right now. Anything you guys wanted to mention about? Because there's so many versions of this game. It's on Switch, on NSO, with terrible emulation that looks broken and bad. It's on GameCube.
I've played exactly 3 versions of it. 4 versions, actually.
Okay.
The original N64, which I owned as a kid.
Yeah.
The GameCube, what was it? There was a pre-launched bonus if you pre-ordered Wind Waker.
It was the Master Quest version, wasn't it?
There were 2... Maybe there was another...
I feel like there were at least 2 GameCube releases.
I'll look when I get home. I can't remember what they are, but there's 2 different pre-order bonuses that came out for 2 different games, and one of them has...
it's got a bunch of different Zelda games.
Yeah, one of them's got Ocarina of Time, and then original Legend of Zelda, and Legend of Zelda 2, or was it just Zelda 2?
Yeah, it's Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, and then
Zelda 2: Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah.
And maybe some other development goodies. And then there's another one that had Ocarina of Time and then Master Quest, which is brutally difficult.
Yes.
So we don't need to go over that in too much detail, but it's basically a reimagining of all of the Zelda dungeons to make them fiendishly difficult.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, the game is not terribly difficult. It's a pretty easy game.
Yep.
It's an enjoyable one, but the dungeons and the platforming in particular and the combat is not, once you get those rhythms down and the patterns,
yeah,
it's for us, it's a straight shot through the game
It's not as hard as Game Grumps makes it look.
And Master Quest is the first dungeon, the Deku Tree, Jesus.
No.
Is almost impossible.
Yeah.
I played that when I was much younger, but it's really hard. So anyway, that's I played those two versions. I guess the GameCube, which honestly that maps very nicely.
Yeah.
The C buttons map to the C stick, which is actually really nice for playing the Ocarina.
Yeah.
And it's a more ergonomic controller in general. So like Z targeting is much nicer. There's no uplift in graphical quality or sound quality.
Yeah, because it's basically emulated on the GameCube.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it plays well.
Yeah.
And then the Master Quest. And then finally I played the 3DS version. That is still the best way to play that game.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if they would just take rather than emulate the N64 version, if they would just port the 3DS version to the Switch, I think that would be a better experience for everybody. But since when has Nintendo ever concerned themselves with what would be the best experience for everybody?
Yeah. Why would they care about their customers? That just sounds like it's too much work, Brent.
That doesn't sound right at all. Okay. I want to talk about before we kind of do closing thoughts. I wanted to just talk about the sound, and the soundtrack of this game is so iconic to me. I think it's kind of the game that made me obsess over video game soundtracks. I had a cassette player, like a Fisher-Price cassette player that my parents got me when I was like 6, that I still had when I was a teenager. And I would set it up to the TV and like record all the music in Ocarina of Time. And then I would just listen to that tape while I was doing other stuff. I also had a lot of tapes of Mystery Science Theater episodes that I would listen to rather than watch because I was a real fucking weird kid. I was just grade A strange. But I think that this game and the way that it marries gameplay with soundtrack is so fascinating. And the limited sort of sonic palette that Koji Kondo had to use based on the fact that the main themes of the...
Brent, Sonic was on Sega.
Would a Sonic palette just be blue?
I'm sorry. It had to be done.
It was required. But given the fact that all the themes had to be playable with the, what is it, 4?
I think yeah.
Yeah. Kirk's looking it up. But just to, or maybe not, maybe he's ordering pizza. I don't know.
He's looking up Warcraft's boobs.
I'm pretty sure it's just 4.
But you can use A. Oh, but do you not use all 4 of the camera buttons?
I think it's just the 3 C buttons and then whatever the blue button was.
That's A.
So I'm pretty sure it's just 4.
Can you tell that we've played
the internet's
this game
not
a lot?
very clear.
Well, that's true just generally.
And the 3DS completely remaps that to a layout that's
control scheme.
Yeah, but one that's completely incompatible with the original.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I think is missing from the Ocarina, unless I missed that function.
Yeah.
With the original, you used to be able to pitch the sound up and down. You actually used to be able to compose your own. In fact, there was some really impressive, internet compilation or compositions of people playing all sorts of stuff on the Ocarina.
Yeah.
Because you could, there were whatever the buttons were that we're talking about mapped to specific tones, to specific notes. But then there was
ominous tones.
Yes. They're all in minor chords.
Yeah. The Wolf Howl and Twilight Princess, people were doing that too.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
I think it was the direction stick that I think pitched the sound up or down from where you were. So you could effectively get to any note within, I don't know, however many octave ranges that enabled you to get to. Yeah. So that is one thing that was missing from the 3DS version. I don't think there was a way to pitch it up and down, but that was a novelty to begin with. It's not essential in any regard.
It's just fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I the way that, because you're the one playing the kind of main theme of each song, the way that like connects the player to the soundtrack, I think was innovative at the time, and I think is part of the reason why that soundtrack is so iconic. It's also responsible for millions of people trying to learn the ocarina, which I think otherwise would be pretty much a dead instrument. Also, it's responsible for this one guy who makes ocarinas out of pumpkins and gourds and shit online and then plays songs on them, and it's fucking great. I'll have to see if I can find him.
If I could count the number of TikTok videos that had Song of Storms in it.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I think I've mentioned it.
Some of the songs live rent-free in our heads, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Especially Song of Storms is probably my favorite. I know I mentioned it before, but Rifty Beats, Lo-Fi of the Lost Woods is required listening. Go check that out. So good. Bolero Fire, so good. The fucking Gerudo Valley theme. Mm-hmm. Oh my god, there's a video of two guys, I think in Spain actually, like playing like traditional Spanish guitar, the whole Gerudo Valley theme. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Love it. It makes me happy.
It is. It is one of the best soundtracks on the N64.
Yeah.
It just bar none. I think that they must have known that they had crossed a threshold in terms of hardware capability to emulate good sounding instrumentals, because the ocarina sounds nice.
It does.
It's lovely as opposed to chip tuned, which would have been fine, but it wouldn't have had the. I have to put my pinky out when I say this, the texture of the sound.
There's stuff where I feel like the SNES sound chip, which was the best 16-bit sound chip out there, that the SNES sound chip did better than the like MIDI synth on the N64. But I don't think you can fault this soundtrack at all. So good. Do we have any other things we want to cover before we kind of get to final thoughts? Yeah.
I don't think so.
I feel like we've talked for about 4.5 hours about this game, and that's probably enough.
Mm-hmm. I got some final thoughts if you don't mind, unless you wanted to go.
Yeah, man, do it. Do it.
I love how this game really centralized around the ocarina.
Yeah.
And the ocarina is such a like, when you think Zelda, you obviously think of the characters and like the Master Sword, but the ocarina is always one of the other things.
Yeah.
That's what I hate about the new games. They took out what is a staple of the series and replaced it with him fucking holding an iPad. Like,
yeah,
it really annoys me.
I want to use the word disrespect, and that's probably way too strong and way too like butthurt gamery of me. But the like disrespect for like the core mechanic of Zelda that the two new ones have infuriates me. It's like, it's a sword and shield game. It's always been a sword and shield game, like sword, shield, bow, ocarina, like these basic things that like, and it's like the fucking breaking weapons mechanic and the stupid, oh god, it's just like, just playing it sometimes just makes me so fucking mad.
Mm-hmm.
And
whoever modded in the hook shot in the newest game, I saw a rendition of that. They're
cool.
a fucking hero.
That's so cool.
Because then it kind of helps with the whole bullshit, like you got to climb everywhere thing, which is fine in some aspects, but they could have still brought in the hook shot to make it go faster.
Here's the thing that frustrates the fuck out of me is that it's so gorgeous. It's so beautiful. And the traversal is so much fun. And then you're traversing to somewhere where the combat's broken and there's no dungeons. And I'm like, Vlog!
Yeah.
Okay. I'm okay.
Yeah. But bring back the ocarina, you cowards.
Yeah.
or I will call Godzilla from the Sea of Japan.
I'm sorry,
we
the
will
Sea
see
of America?
Sorry. Oh my god. He's got it. He's got Godzilla on speed dial.
Yeah, I do.
They go hang out on weekends.
We do.
Godzilla's going through some stuff, but Kirk's helping him.
That's true.
Her. It. Them.
Yep. Yeah, we hung out on Mount Fuji the other day. It was pretty dope.
Sweet.
Although I got kind of cranky when he just straight up grabbed me and threw me back to the United States. That wasn't very nice.
Yeah. I'm just picturing.
But I was there to catch you in my strong arms.
That scene from Lady and the Tramp with the spaghetti, but it's just Kirk.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna
maybe we should kiss too to break the tension.
Like Godzilla and Mothra will just be waiting right outside of Nintendo headquarters for your asses. Like, bring back the Ocarina, you cowards.
King Caesar is going to have a tough time on his hands fighting.
Or I'll just go over there. Like most of them are like 5 foot tall. I'll just like hold them down, tickle them until they comply. Like it'll be fun.
In Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla, where it's the he's like the little robot that the guy makes, and then he gets blown up to giant size. Fuck, what's his name? Jet Jaguar. Jet Jaguar is gonna have to come save Japan. Yes, I've watched way too many Toho kaiju movies, and I'm not upset about it. Okay, Benny, do you have things that you want to add to this thing that we call a podcast?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm trying to think about how to transition off of
Jet Jaguar
and where Kirk led us there, because I think
trying to get away from Kirk.
This game is one of the reasons, specifically this game, I would attribute as being one of the reasons that I'm on this podcast, that I cared to be here. Not because we do this episode, but
certainly not because of you fucks.
I would take that though. I'd be like,
yeah,
but
I'd be like, that's fair.
As a formative thing, like this is one of those foundational games for me.
Yeah,
I think this is. I don't know about you guys, but like this is an important game for me.
Absolutely.
And I don't want to put too fine a point on it, but I kind of think that it's like that it may be part of the reason for like the ethos that some of us have come up with. Like, I think that I don't want to like philosophize and like get too fruity with the language, but like, let's like,
I'm going to cut that. You don't want to say that.
That's fair. That's not what I should have said, like floral with the language.
There we go.
I'm texting Dakota and Cody right now.
Fair enough.
They're gonna make
They'll come tickle me.
Yeah, they'll come.
I'll watch.
No, you'll do your penance by saying 10 Yas Queens.
Oh God.
And then you're forgiven.
My 11-year-old says Yas Queen, and it's not okay.
Okay. Brent spent half this episode in his old man yells at cloud mode, but that's okay.
That's true. I did.
I can see Dakota coming over with a shirt that says some fighter in the streets, hentai in the sheets. That fucking t-shirt he just actively wears around downtown. It's so funny.
Oh, that's great.
Oh man, I love that guy.
Sorry, just to
I'm
trying to focus on my concept here. Like, so not to put too fine a point on it, but I think like this game is personally important to like my own ethos. Like, it's entirely possible that I got a touch of the tism, and empathy is a thing that may be like slightly less native to my brain.
Okay.
And having like a framework for like caring about other people is kind of an important thing.
Yeah.
And this game presents like how to be a good person in kind of a subtle way. So like you think about like the Triforce.
Yeah.
Is 3 pieces, courage, power, and wisdom. And you're like the characters are intrinsically one of the 3. Like, Ganondorf, Zelda, and Link are one of the 3. And they're kind of like platonic ideals of like these principles, right?
Yeah.
So you as Link, you are not inherently powerful, and you're not inherently wise, but you're inherently courageous.
Yeah.
So like, what the game in my mind is telling you as a person and as a player to do is not giving you the ability to just like automatically succeed or automatically be wise or good at something, but to do the hard thing because it's the thing because it's the best thing for you to be doing.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of an important ethical look at things. Like Link does things for other people, not because I guess there's always a reward cycle from it, but ultimately it's the hero's journey, but also it's like the fight against evil. And I think that's framed in terms of like personal values. And I think that this is an important formative part of my own personal ethos and why I care about other people at all.
Yeah. Well, most of us suck.
In general, yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, and I mean,
but it's important to look for someone to care about.
That's true.
Otherwise, I'd be in jail.
But I guess what I would dovetail off of that with is just like, as a young, and I'm going to say this, and I don't want people to misconstrue. I'm not saying that this isn't true for people of all genders and orientations. I'm just saying, from my own personal experience, it's very easy to find negative, hateful, toxic role models as a young male.
Yeah.
And it's probably putting too much pressure on the game to say, but I'm still going to say Link was always like, in my imagination, like a role model of how to be a like strong and determined and courageous and honorable person, while also not being a big badass. Because that's the thing. Link is very vulnerable. And again, I think the choice to make him a silent protagonist, which is obviously predates this game, I think is really a smart one, because anytime you have one of these like hero's journey kind of stories, whether it's a book or a movie or a game, you're inherently going to imbue the character with your own attributes and your own personality. And I always felt like a really strong and deep connection to Link, in the same way that I did to Frodo or Luke Skywalker or any of these other kind of, classic hero's journey characters.
RoboCop.
You
forgot about our Detroit trip again.
Obviously. I always felt a strong connection to anybody who shoots guys in the dick. Because sometimes guys just need their dick shot off. It's what needs to happen.
Yeah, it's the way the universe corrects things.
And so, yeah, like characters like RoboCop or Link were really important to me. And I think that's why I have such strong emotional reactions to when, like, this is one of the very few series where I do have the like gamery, like, they fucked up my game. Like I'm not normally that way. I'm like, yeah, okay, they did something different. That's cool. Like, I'll play the old one. Like, but this one, like, when they get it in big air quotes wrong, because they didn't get it wrong, they did it differently. And then I'm sure that, like, statistically, the three of us in this room are wrong. Most people who like Zelda, like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, those games have outsold every other Zelda game. That's most people's Zelda experience. But it doesn't make it that I don't think this should be the canonical Zelda, because I do. Okay, we need to get out of here now. Help, I'm trapped in this podcast and I can't escape. Oh shit, I hit the fucking thing. Sorry, everyone. I'll cut that out. It'll be fine.
Don't panic.
Here, put this in over it. Ding.
Okay. Okay. If you like what we're doing, please check us out on Discord, Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Music. By the way, fuck Apple. Jesus Christ, they still haven't resolved the thing where you can't log into accounts.apple.com on a Windows or Linux device. You have to use an Apple device. Fucking assholes. It's been over a year. Fix your HTML, you dipshits. Anyway, yes, we love you so much. Come do things with us and talk to us. And
we're
friends.
So lonely.
Yeah.
My friend. Oh, check out Kirk's This Month in Gaming. It was really good. I liked it.
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Do those things. And then
if we were on camera, we'd be pointing at like the bell icons in like the corners of the screen and stuff. Like
maybe YouTube
like real YouTubers.
We'll fucking shoot subscriber juice all over our face or whatever. I don't know. Bye.
That wouldn't shock me.
They genetically modified a horse to actually make a unicorn.
Yeah.
And then they killed the unicorn in China, ground it up.
Buried it in concrete for a year.
For preservation and flavor.